Okay, hi, this is Mark Klosik with Vertex Distribution out of Attleboro, Massachusetts, here at the National Industrial Fastener Show in Las Vegas.
How about it? You forgot the Mill Supply Expo. It's a long name. All right, what did you notice different this year from previous years?
I like the new location. I do still prefer the Thursday, Friday as opposed to the middle of the week. Having it at the end of the week seems to work out a little better, but the attendance this year was quite well. A lot of activity yesterday, and even today, which is normally a very slow day, there's a lot of activity coming around. We're having a lot of people come around, so that's it's quite impressive.
Were you able to go to the Wall of Fame?
I did. I tried to steal some of the bricks, but I couldn't get them off the wall.
Yeah, there is that. So I'm over here with Star Stainless, and your boss just made the Hall of Fame. And what I want to know is what's going to change at work. What do you think's going to happen?
What changes at work?
Yeah, is he going to be hard to live with at work? What do you think?
Bruce, no.
With Bruce, you sure you're not going to have to bow or
It's already over.
No.
Bruce was pretty much embarrassed by the whole thing.
He's a humble guy.
He would
humble guy.
have much rather that,
Okay, all right. And that's the guy we want on the Hall of Fame, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We don't want the guy where you're going to have to, do a bow.
Oh, my gosh.
No.
So that's not Bruce. All right.
He would probably yell at us if we did do that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Right?
We might do it just to break his job.
All right.
We've been known to do that, but no, he was very humbled by the whole experience.
All right.
And, he doesn't even like being called Mr. Wheeler. So
It's Bruce.
to everybody, it's Bruce.
Bruce.
So they made a good pick, huh?
Oh,
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Totally.
About time they made a good
That was
Exactly,
nice.
yes.
As the guys are high-fiving each other. So, all right. So that's the scoop from the Star Stainless team.
Clayton from Buckeye Fasteners.
What differences have you seen in the show from last year to this year?
Well, it's obviously in a different venue, but and the room's not that bad, but there's a lot more traffic this year. It seems like it picked up quite a bit with customers and stuff. So it's been a great show so far.
Okay. How about the days? We're on different days of the week. What do you think?
I really like the days because it doesn't mess up your weekend if you have to stay through Saturday. That doesn't mess with your family life. So I think it's a good show, and I think a lot of people probably think the same thing since there's a lot more people here. So.
Oh, I'm here at the National Industrial Fastener and Mill Supply Expo with Eric's mother, Terry Dudas. Terry, tell us how you like your first Fastener Expo.
It's quite chilly in here. I should have brought my fur coat, except I don't own one. Well, I go back a long time with fasteners. I used to work as a secretary for a couple of space representatients who worked for McGraw-Hill's Industrial Distribution magazine. This is back in 1961, 62, 63. Industrial Distribution magazine has been sold several times over, and I think it's still in existence, but it may not be. So my interest in fasteners goes back a long way, but we always stopped at the old joke about male and female couplers and then just, dropped it.
Thank you, Terry. That's
Can you use anything?
I don't know. Eric's going to edit. Okay. It's time for Fully Threaded Radio.
It is Fully Threaded Radio, voice of the FCH Sourcing Network. This is the online, on-demand Fastener Talk Radio Show. So if you're in the screw biz, you've clicked on the right podcast. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. Eric Dudas here. I'm joined by the co-host of Fully Threaded Radio. As always, he's Brian Musker. Brian, doing all right?
Yes, I am. I'm doing especially well since I live in Chicago, and Cubs just turned up today.
As Harry would say, holy cow.
Right. Yeah, Chicago is a zoo. I don't think there's much work being done in the city, okay?
Right. Well, we're publishing a little bit late, folks. This is episode 110 of the podcast, and we were originally planning on getting this thing out on November 3rd. Of course, it's November 4th as we record. Probably another day till we get it published, but I think you may have given folks one hint as to why.
Right. It's very hard to get hold of people at the moment, okay? Especially since we've got the two centers of the fastener industry, we would say, the Midwest, Chicago and Cleveland being the ones involved in this big, giant, titanic struggle.
That's right. And in case you're listening to this down the line, folks, we're recording this in the aftermath of the World Series, in which the Chicago Cubs defeated the outstanding Cleveland Indians in an epic battle. We'll be talking a lot about the Fastener Show, the Vegas show, on today's episode as well. And of course, during the show out there in Vegas, it was a topic celeb, and what an outcome. I mean, if you're a Chicago fan, you've been waiting a long time, and I am, and it's an amazing day.
Well, I have to tell you that being in Chicago, we're doubly blessed in a different way, because another world-class team, the New Zealand All Blacks, are turning up here on Saturday to play a World Rugby test between New Zealand and Ireland.
And you have tickets.
I have tickets, oh yes.
Why am I not surprised?
Right, so we have a whole set of pretty world-class teams in Chicago at the moment.
This is predominantly fastener-related talk radio, however, folks, so we're going to shift gears away from sports and into everyone's favorite topic.
Right.
Today, we're going to speak with Dick Ripley, he of Lindstrom. Of course, he was out there in Vegas. They made a big announcement about an acquisition north of the border. If you didn't hear about that, you can get all the details. He'll also talk to us about his perspective on what's going on in the industry currently. We're also going to do our annual Las Vegas Fastener Show wrap-up. This time we'll be joined with John Butler from the Olander Company and Matt Delawder from SWD, home of the Black Ox. Plus, we'll have Carmen Vertullo from the Fastener Training Institute with the Fastener Training Minute. Lots of you are big fans of that these days.
Yep.
Mike McNulty fans, you're going to have to sit this one out. I got a text from Mike the day after the series, simply said, I'm not focused on fasteners at the moment.
Mike, really?
That's right. So we're going to announce the Fastener Distributor Index numbers during the time slot. Mike would normally host somebody to discuss that, but we're going to give Mike the episode off. He's going to lick his wounds, if indeed that's what he's doing. But, hey, Cleveland fans, nothing to be ashamed of. It was a great series.
Wow, okay. Well, Mike, you need to focus a little more, I can see. We'll help you back into that.
Indeed we will. With lots of good fastener content on this episode. We'll have a few more snippets from the floor of the Vegas show. Thanks to the lovely and talented Lynn Dempsey for recording all those. Might as well get this one out of the way, though, before we take a quick break. I know a lot of you are wondering, what was the color of this year's Stellfast monkey? What would you have called that, Bri?
Aquamarine, is it? No, not quite.
Yeah,
sort of.
I would take that, yeah.
Yeah, lighter, but whatever.
Seafoam?
Jack likes it, okay.
Well, that's the important thing. Jack the Fastener Dog has a new companion.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Stellfast monkey for 2016, we're calling it Aquamarine. Saw tons of them walking around the show floor as always. So
yeah, hanging out of the people's bags and whatever all over the place. And we had to make absolutely sure that our one was taken back to the hotel, because last year it got stolen. Or got removed, I'll say that.
Yeah, we were on guard this year.
And we also we were very on guard to make sure that our Cubs logo didn't get removed from our booth too overnight.
If you didn't get a chance to see it, folks, and you're a Twitter user, we did post a picture of our booth, loud and proud, right out front. We had our Cubs banner and our big W hanging on the back. Any comments on that? You know where we are. The handle on Twitter is Fully Threaded. The email address, ftr@fullythreaded.com. And we'll be back in just a few moments to pop the top on this one. It's Fully Threaded Radio.
Yes.
Brian and Eric, your online Fastener Talk Radio brothers in thread. Fully Threaded Radio.
When top quality and outstanding service are at the top of your list in fastener suppliers, turn to Stellfast. Since 1976, Stellfast has grown to become an industry-leading importer and manufacturer of the highest quality industrial fasteners, specialty items, and automotive parts. Our array of facilities across North America and in Asia, along with full quality control labs and ISO 9001-2008 certifications, ensure the highest quality parts, and at Stellfast, they're delivered with undisputed service excellence. We're family-run and dedicated to your success. Our customers have come to depend on the expertise of our staff and the quality of our products. We also offer a wide range of secondary services to meet some of the toughest requirements you might have. Contact Stellfast today through our website at www.stellfast.com and put us to work for you. Stellfast. Service you deserve, people you trust.
Why do distributors turn to Lindstrom? Because we're committed to being the source for everything distributors need, including packaging and manufacturing. If you need less than bulk, packaged product off the shelf, or custom packaging, Lindstrom has it all. Ask about kits, assortments, and our new VMI bin pack program. Whether you need special lengths or thread pitch, altered parts, studs, or manufactured parts, inch or metric, large parts or small, Lindstrom has you covered. We also manufacture special washers in addition to sockets, bolts, and nuts. Need a prototype part? Call Lindstrom. As the leading specialty fastener master distributor, Lindstrom is focused on a single goal: to bring our distributors the perfect combination of convenience, flexibility, value, and choice. To be the source for everything distributors need. When you need something special, turn to Lindstrom. To learn more about Lindstrom and our expanded brand of value-added products and services, visit lindstromfastener.com or call a sales representative at 1-800-572-5550. Lindstrom, by any measure.
Hey, sport, you don't look so good.
Man, all this walking at the Fastener Show is wearing me out. I don't know if I can keep going.
I think I have just a thing to help you out, son. Have you ever heard of Old Rusty Bolt beer?
No, what is it?
Why, it's only the tastiest, most refreshing, ice-coldest beer around. The amber goodness of Old Rusty Bolt beer is enough to jumpstart any weary fastener salesman.
I'll try one. Wow, I feel better already. Hey, mister, what's that name again?
Old Rusty Bolt beer, brought to you by the fine folks at Buckeye Fasteners and the Ohio Nut and Bolt Company.
Old Rusty Bolt, that's the name, that name again, Old Rusty Bolt.
Buckeye Fasteners, more than just weld.
Hi, this is Bobby Wagner with Beacon Fasteners and Components. You're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric, your online fastener amigos, back with you. Well, Bri, we pointed out that the Stellfast monkey this year was aquamarine, but we failed to mention that Stellfast is one of the title sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio. How dare us?
Yeah, I know. Actually, we were very close to both of our title sponsors and where we were in the show. So, in case you don't know, folks, the title sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio are Stellfast and the Lindstrom family of companies, including Titan Fasteners. Stellfast, for service you deserve and people you trust. And the Lindstrom family of companies, Lindstrom, by any measure. Also sponsoring Fully Threaded are Buckeye Fasteners, InSequel Software, The Worth Group, ND Industries, Fastenal, Volt Industrial Plastics, and Solution Industries, home of Solution Man. And many of these companies were at the show and were happy to provide us with a very welcome glass of beer, and I'm very thankful to them and thankful for their support as well.
It was pretty good to be ensconced right there in the heart of all of our sponsors. This year we did it right, I think, finally.
Yeah, it was fun, actually. And it's always fun to run around if we get any spare time to go and see the sponsors. We've got to know them pretty well over the years, so it's good.
Well, that's true, and one of the reasons that that's true is because something I guess you let the cat out of the bag during the last episode, and we didn't want to upstage Traveling Salesman at that point, who was announcing his 10-year anniversary. However, as of October, the FCH Sourcing Network is 10 years old. Dun, dun, dun.
Right. Yeah, we need to blow our own trumpet. That's true.
Yeah, should have inserted some kind of a fanfare there, but there you have it, folks. Low-budget Fastener Talk Radio at its finest.
Right. Yeah, so it's an interesting, when you look back, have the time to look back, we now have like 1.3 something million lines listed, and the time when we went live was nail-biting time for us, because we didn't have that many lines listed. In fact, it's like chicken and egg situation. We sort of decided that we'd make our whole system go live at about 30,000 lines, and we had to make sure that the searching algorithm was so fuzzy that you could sort of search for nuts and you'd get bolts and washers and all sorts of things, just so we had to fill the screen up. So we were having bets as to how many items we would actually have before we could make our search engine go, because our early site was, search engine coming soon or something like that. I mean, we just had to wait till you could find something. Far cry from these days. We actually have so many items the search engine has got all sorts of things in it to try and sort out stuff, so you only get reasonable results now. And some versions of it are very, very, very fussy.
There used to be this commercial, like during the height of the .com days, and it showed these young entrepreneurs, and they'd set up their website, some kind of an e-commerce website, and they got a hit, and they all jumped up and had a celebration, and they got 2 hits, and they were happy, and then they got a couple more hits, and everyone was ecstatic, and then all of a sudden the hits started going through the roof, and suddenly they realized that they'd created a monster, right? You remember that one?
Yeah, I do know that one.
We had a little bit of a feeling like that at one point, because that was kind of like us. We were watching if anybody was actually out there searching. Of course,
right.
These days there's anywhere between 1,200 to 1,500 unique companies or entities searching the network on any given business day, and we kind of take it for granted a little, but we've come a long way. Folks, if you do use the FCH Sourcing Network, that's at www.fastenersclearinghouse.com. We sure do appreciate it, whether you're just using it to find inventory or you use us as well to list your inventory. We need you on both sides of that equation, and we sure do appreciate it. Brian and I really we work hard on this thing, and we thank you so much.
Yeah, we need both. 2 sets of people, the people searching and people listing, and they're not always the same people, actually, and we've sort of managed relatively well to keep the sort of activity of the both groups in line or in sync, by luck more than by our own amazing management in that respect. But we need people using the site, and we need people listening. So it's been an interesting balance.
It is a balancing act. FastenersClearinghouse.com, folks, the FCH Sourcing Network.
Yep.
So you mentioned that Lindstrom is one of the title sponsors and longtime friends of the network and the podcast. And we recorded a conversation with Dick Ripley from Lindstrom. Let's play that right now. What do you think?
We should.
Well, Bri, as folks are probably very well aware by now, we just returned from the Vegas show. This year, of course, our booth was situated right across from the big green machine. That was, of course, the Lindstrom booth. That was pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, we were sort of overshadowed by this like 3-story high great green thing And you could navigate the floor of the show by just seeing where's the Lindstrom.
Yeah, well, it came in handy for that reason, among others. I'm sure the Lindstrom guys got good use out of it. I noticed it even had a meeting room, although I'm not sure if that might not have been a cigar lounge for Mike. Maybe we'll get to the bottom of that, because with us now is a gentleman who knows all about the Lindstrom booth and the Lindstrom family of companies. He's Dick Ripley. Dick, you out there?
I am. Eric, Brian, good morning, guys.
Morning to you, Matty.
Be on the air.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us once again. There was quite a bit going on at the show this year. Obviously, you made it back okay. Congratulations on a fantastic-looking booth. I bet you got a lot of mileage out of that.
You know, we really did, and I think we designed it to make a statement this year about Lindstrom and where we're going in the marketplace, and I think we achieved that. What did you call it? The big green castle or the big green machine? I kind of like the description. But.
Castle will just about do. I was actually trying to set our booth up when the show people were trying to assemble your booth. And there was a lot of reference to the drawings, okay?
Yeah. And I think there's a slight exaggeration. I don't believe it was 3 stories, but it certainly had some hype to it. There's no question about it. But yeah, we were really happy with the way it was received at the show, and I think that because it was visible, we had a lot more traffic and more attention paid to Lindstrom. And really, when you're in Las Vegas, that's the whole point of the show, is to get customers in there to talk to you about business and opportunities. So we were very happy with the way it worked out for us.
We saw a lot of folks passing through the booth. Of course, we were, I guess, receiving some benefit from that. Strange might have been part of our strategy, huh, Bri?
It could have.
We're sending you the bill for that.
We've got one as well. Maybe they were walking straight past us to get to you, okay? That's also possible.
Could be.
Yeah, shaking their heads over all the Cubs paraphernalia in our humble, modest booth, but apparently that mojo might have helped go a little bit, huh? Here we're recording on the day after the World Series, so there was a little bit of buzz going on in Vegas about the series, wasn't there?
Yeah, I'll tell you, it obviously, living in Chicago, we're pretty pleased with the outcome, but it was an epic World Series, and unfortunately, it was between 2 teams that are sort of the epicenter of fasteners, Cleveland and Chicago. So definitely it was a show divided on who was the favorite, but 2 really great teams battling it out. We're certainly happy in Chicago that the Cubs won, but I don't think the Indians have anything to be ashamed of. They're a top-notch team, and it could have gone either way, obviously, Game 7.
Even within minutes of the end, it could have gone either way.
Yeah, I thought we had it in the bag after that initial home run, but boy, it was a nail biter all the way through. So again, kudos to both teams, and we're just 100 years is probably deserving of some sort of accolades after winning it and waiting that long to do it. So
yeah, I think so.
It was our time. Well, I've been a lifelong Chicago Cubs fan, and of course I relocated to the Cleveland area, a year and a half ago or so, and so all my friends were Indians fans, which made for some interesting viewing, but the way I looked at it, it was either way I won, so I just had a heck of a great time, and congratulations everybody, and to the Cleveland people as well, because as you said, Dick, they're very deserving, fantastic team. And of course that was a huge point of conversation during the show, but a lot more was going on. What did you hear? What were people speaking about regarding fasteners?
Well, there's no question that we're coming off a really difficult year in terms of OEs and depressed markets out there. And with the election coming up and some of the uncertainties going forward, everyone is very cautious about what's going to go on in 2017. So we're hearing a lot of cautious optimism on what's going on, but I think when you really drill down to what people are actually saying, if it's flat or slightly up to 2016, it's going to be a win next year. So we're digging down in the trenches. We had a relatively good year based on some of the new products that we bring on every quarter and getting a little bit more into that inch white space. But there's no question that it's still going to be a year where you're going to have to work very hard to bring on new business and to retain the customer loyalty that you've enjoyed over the years. So we're batting down for a fight.
Yeah, that seems to be the stats that we follow, which are mainly drill downs, it's activity when someone searches for something and clicks on it to see how to get hold of the supplier. That stat is sort of okay, but not great. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
During the last podcast, we were talking about the bankruptcy of Hanjin, and we related that to the wider transport costs built into a lot of our imported fasteners. Any movement there? Are things holding steady? What are you seeing there, Dick?
In terms of freight costs, we're definitely seeing that escalate. We were fortunate on the Hanjin deal that our freight guy didn't have us in any of those that shipping line or container, so we came out of that scot-free. But definitely, you're going to see an impact on the freight costs, and we're seeing costs go up. So I think everyone is expecting that in the second or the last quarter of 2016 and into 2017 as well.
Okay.
Let's talk acquisitions. We've, I think, got something to announce, if you haven't heard already, folks, coming from Team Lindstrom. But in general, 2016 was yet another year of consolidation in the industry. You think that trend is going to stabilize? You think it's going to continue the way it has been? What's your read on that?
Given that it's still being projected in 2017 as a soft, a flat, maybe slight increase year, I think you're going to see some more bargains out there in terms of acquisition. I think that there are probably some family-owned legacy businesses that are probably going to be looking for buyers. So I think it's going to be much like 2016. It's going to be there's going to be more consolidation as we go down the road. So knowing who our equity capital partner is, we're probably always going to keep our ear to the ground and look around for potential businesses that fit within our future plans, and we'll continue to look for those.
Right. So if it's a flat or soft market, you're looking for deals, plus you're looking to pick up some market share.
Absolutely. If it fits in, the strategy, and it's a good springboard to either new markets or broadening our markets or increasing our market share, yeah, we're gonna try to take advantage of those if possible.
And on that topic, Lindstrom just made a big announcement, right? And you were talking about it at the Vegas show. What was it, Dick?
Yeah, we've had a fair portion of the Canadian market, but we've always had to ship from the States. And in 2016, a potential acquisition came up with a small company called Anda Tool, who was, for all intents and purposes, a small family-owned business that specialized in inch sockets. And we looked at the platform they were on. Obviously, we've gotten into inch sockets over the last couple of years. And we looked at their customer base and thought that was a great segue into ourselves getting into the Canadian market, getting our inventory closer to the Canadian customers, and offering a better service variable being in Mississauga. So we purchased Anda. In the last 2 months, we've been moving to a new facility in Mississauga, about 38,000 square feet. And we're about, let's say a couple of weeks away from getting all the Lindstrom legacy products up there, the metrics and some of our inch offering to augment what Anda has gone to market with on the socket side. So we think we're in a good position to pick up additional business up there and again, broaden our Canadian market.
Yep.
We hired an individual, Bill Ackerfeld, as our GM. He actually was worked for our rep agency in Canada, and we came to an agreement with the owner of that agency that we could spirit Bill away and use him as our GM. He's been working for Mooney Sales for quite a while, but he also has an extensive background in Canadian distribution fasteners. He worked for Brafasco for 12 years, so really a well-rounded guy with a lot of experience. And we also have a regional VP, Rick English, up there spearheading the whole project and getting things lined up. So for all intents and purposes, in about 2 weeks, we'll be ready to roll with all our products and ready to hit the market hard.
You know, this is a topic that we really haven't ever addressed on the podcast, and that's some of the subtle differences or some of the nuances in doing business north of the border. Would you feel comfortable talking about a couple of those? Obviously, it makes some difference because companies that operate on both sides have definitely are paying attention to detail there.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm the authority on how we bring fasteners in and the duty drawbacks and things like that, but I can tell you that our intent is to, especially for some of our large VMI customers that have facilities in Canada, what we intend to do is make the pricing transparent, with the exception of duties and the exchange rate difference. So, we're trying to operate on a level playing field so that their pricing remains fairly static, regardless of whether they're doing business for U.S. customers or Canadian customers.
Sounds like a challenge. I don't know. Maybe we'll get that in a future episode. Maybe not.
Yeah. It is a challenge. There's no question about it. There's some certain product categories like small screws that you just really can't bring imported product into Canada because of the dumping duties are just astronomical. So you just have to be aware of those pitfalls and work around those product families. But I think we've got that well taken care of with people that know a lot more than I do about sourcing and products and duties.
Right. No, we recognize that. That's why I think we just kind of tiptoe around it. But good points. And interestingly, I talked to 2 Canadian companies that are going the opposite direction. They're working their way into the U.S., so they have their strategies going as well. Well, at the show, and by the way, before we put a capstone on that topic, I'm sure we'll be hearing much more about the Lindstrom expansion and who knows, maybe even some additional acquisitions in 2017.
Absolutely.
New product families for Lindstrom. I know they were announced also on the show floor. Why don't you tee off on that a little bit?
I'd love to.
I'm sure.
And thanks for teeing it up really high for me. I appreciate it. Since Q4 in 2014, it's no secret that Lindstrom has been really working at gaining traction in I'll call it the specialty inch market. So along with some of the usual suspects, cap screws, imported cap screws, socket head products, some stainless and graded nuts, we're now getting into that fringe business where the specialty inch business that maybe isn't served as much from some of the main competitors. So we just recently added retaining rings, a full line of retaining rings, thread forming and thread cutting screws on the inch side. We're going to be getting into flange bolts in Q1, Q2 in 2017, and look for us to be adding new products again every quarter. Along with that, we're going to be offering special time-limited discounts to try to get everyone's attention on these new products. And so all you savvy buyers out there, make sure to pay attention to that because you can save some money and get some great service from Lindstrom.
Obviously, you were talking about a lot of these new products at the Vegas show. Any first reactions from customers? I mean, a lot of competition out there these days. Were you getting some traction?
Yeah, there's no question that there's a lot of competition. Certainly, much more so on the inch imperial side than on the metric side, and we are getting traction. I'm here to tell you that initially, starting in Q4 2014, it was a long, arduous uphill climb because, as you both know, we were known as Lindstrom Metrics.
Correct.
So to get people to recognize us as an inch provider, it took the better part of 2015. We've achieved that. We're on certainly on our plan with the inch portion, at least phase 1. Now phase 2 is taken over in 2016, 2017. So we still have a lot of work again with the new items that we've added: retaining rings, small screws, small thread cutting rather, and flange bolts. But we are making progress. I think that the business that we're looking at on the inch side, the specialty inch with any finish, any quantity, differentiates us from some of the other major suppliers who are really looking for that bulk sale. Again, we're looking for some of the smaller quantity specialized parts that, again, are relatively underserved in terms of the people that are quoting that type of product. So we feel pretty good about the future in terms of our inch volume, and we're going to continue to add new products to give our customers a broader base to pick from and bundle with Lindstrom.
So when you introduce a new line of products, I mean, it's more than just dumping them in the stores, isn't it? You have to sort of train your staff. I mean, someone who sells some socket cap screws is a little different to someone who might know a lot about retaining rings.
Yeah, absolutely, Brian. I mean, it's a long and thought out, arduous process. I mean, we look at, as a group, we look at every potential family that we're going to add. We do market research and say, okay, who are the main players? What segment are we looking at? What sort of top line sales does that involve? What sort of margin retention can we expect? And then we all, in terms of the executive staff, look at it and say, okay, is this something we want to do? And if it is, then we take it back, and I work with our VP of Product Development, Rob, and we work up training for the inside sales staff, and then we work on the promo for our outside sales staff and our independent rep agencies. So we want to make sure that we get all the information and all the material out in their hands before we hit the market, so everyone can talk with some sort of intelligence on the products that we're bringing on board.
Yeah, I mean, it's complicated. Okay,
it really is, and it's some of the markets that we're participating in. We're clearly not going for the bigger, broader bulk parts. So we really have to look at the sizes and the diameters and the individual CDE items and say, okay, what do we want to stock up on, and what do we think we can move? So it really isn't a fly by the seat of your pants thing. It's pretty well diagrammed and well thought out.
So then, if we go back to these retaining rings, and so do you offer? Is this a new line of imperial ones, or do you offer those in the metrics as well?
We've always carried metric retaining rings. So this new foray is just inch.
Okay.
And, we're going after a market segment, but, and it's an imported retaining ring, but I'll tell you, Rob has been to the factory and the quality is top notch. And, we've had nothing but positive feedback from our customers. So again, that's one of those, families that, it was slow going at first, but we're picking up traction, and I think we're going to be, on course by, Q1, Q2 next year.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, Rob Lucas was hanging out in your booth as well. I spoke to him briefly. We're going to have him on the podcast sometime early next year. And if he thought he was getting off the road back and forth to China when he signed in with Lindstrom, he had another thing coming. But that's good to hear he's still keeping abreast. Well, that communication effort, once you've decided what to do, is a huge challenge. Brian and I can speak from firsthand experience on that one. But I think when you came up with your slogan, Lindstrom by any measure, you did a good thing, because it says what you do what you say. And if folks want more information on that, the website is www.lindfast.com. You can get a hold of Dick Ripley and the rest of the Lindstrom team through the website. So good to talk to you again, Dick.
Hey, nice talking to you guys, too. I appreciate the opportunity. And we're big fans of Fully Threaded Radio.
Thank you. So are we.
Well, I would expect that.
Sure do appreciate that, Dick. And we'll be talking to you in the very near future. Good luck with the new product lines. And we can't wait to hear what the next acquisition is going to be, because we know there will be one.
All right. Thanks much, guys. Appreciate it.
See you later.
Talk radio for the fastener industry. It's not really all that bad for the most part. Brian and Eric, Fully Threaded Radio.
You probably know that Lindstrom is an industry leader in metric fasteners. And there's a good chance you know we recently expanded to provide a wide range of high-grade inch fasteners. But what you probably don't know is that Lindstrom has made a serious commitment to earn your socket business. How serious? Well, let's start with 11,000 products. Announcing Lindstrom's expanded line of socket products, including socket head cap screws, flat head socket cap screws, button head socket cap screws, socket shoulder screws, and more. Plain, plated, or patched, in a full range of inch and metric sizes. Special lengths and thread pitches available through in-house fabrication. Always packed to your specification. Lindstrom. Flexibility, choice, and value at every turn. Here for everything distributors need. To learn more about Lindstrom and our expanded line of socket products, visit LindstromSockets.com. Lindstrom, by any measure. To speak with a sales representative, call 1-800-328-2430.
Harry, now that you use InSequel software, how do you like it?
InSequel has delivered. They truly are written for fastener distributors. It's affordable and their support staff is great.
We found InSequel's support staff has depth. They know our industry, and they certainly know their software. I see they've helped you pronounce InSequel.
Yes, but what does InSequel mean? Is it written in SQL? Is the data stored in SQL? Are they located in SQL?
InSequel uses the industry standard Microsoft SQL database, which is why it's so powerful and easy to use.
Oh, the database is stored in SQL. I don't even know where that is. I hear it's a nice place.
Harry, InSequel uses a SQL database because it's current technology and your data is completely accessible. No more expensive custom reports.
Is that why InSequel is so easy to use? Where is SQL on the map?
One of their many support members will help you answer that. Go to their website, www.inxsql.com, or call toll-free 877-446-9775.
Cardinal Fastener is your source for high-quality made-in-the-USA bolts, from 3/8 inch up to 4.5 inch diameter. We can forge a wide variety of materials, including carbon steels, alloys, high-nickel alloys, and stainless. And our in-house tooling center, heat treat equipment, and A2LA quality labs give us total control over every part we produce for faster lead times and superior quality. Call 844-CNL-BOLT for a fast, competitive quote. And remember, if it's critical, it's Cardinal.
My customer sent me a print for a bolt specifically for the machine in his shop, but we can't make it.
Solution Man can. Provide me with a print, and my superhuman CNC machining team will custom make it for you faster than a manufacturer's rep drinking at an open bar. Visit the Solution Industries website for details at solutionind.com.
Wow, that is fast.
So are you at the Distributor Social, huh?
This is Tracy Lumia of Distributors Link magazine, the #1 publication in the fastener industry. You're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric back with you on the Online Fastener Blowtorch.
I thought it was a party bungalow. Okay.
It's a multifaceted podcast, Bri.
Okay. Right. Especially aimed at people who can do more than one thing at once, okay?
That's the best thing about being multifaceted. And as another case in point, is if that was needed, we had a wonderful experience at the Vegas show this year when we participated in the Hall of Fame award ceremony for the purpose of announcing our big Fastener Training Institute scholarship program. We talked about this a lot during this podcast over the months, and in the end we had just a ton of fantastic entries. Thank you one and all if you submitted. We wish we could have selected you all.
Right. They were really, I mean, thank God Eric and I did not have to do the judging. We excuse ourselves from that, but Eric, removes all the pertinent company info off and sends them to Sue and Lynn to work through. And there was a problem because there were about 4 or 5 that were really, really tops.
So what we did was we convinced the Fastener Training Institute, John Cowboy Walkman, to create a whole nother level of award, and that was for the runners-up. So we got 1 overall winner and 4 runners-up, plus everybody who submitted an essay for the scholarship contest received a voucher for a webinar from the FTI. So basically no losers.
No, it's good. And so I'd like to thank all you who wrote in. I mean, it's really good to see people who put in a bit of effort into thinking about how they can improve their future and why they want to do it, and that's good. I mean, that's the sort of thing that we listened to Ryan Curtis talk about too. I mean, we've forgotten all that, but we once did all that ourselves.
So let me set this up. Speaking of Ryan Curtis, he was first up on the schedule for the Hall of Fame ceremony. Simi Sakuja from Stelfast, she got up there and explained why Ryan was a worthy recipient of this award. Then he came up, gave a very nice acceptance speech. Then it was Bruce Wheeler's turn. His wife came up, had some very nice words to say, and then Bruce came up, and we'll talk a little bit more about that during the next segment. But I don't know how it happened. It was a little anticlimactic, but Joe Morris and I then went onto the stage to do the scholarship award. I'm just glad that everybody stayed for that. We did it a little, kind of down and dirty, but we got the job done. In any event, it was great to be a part of it, and it was a very nice turnout. I guess I'll just break the suspense now in case you haven't heard. The winner of this year's FTI Scholarship Award was Shanice McDaniel. She's from Empire Bolt and Screw. We were very glad that Ron Stanley of Empire Bolt was there to accept the award on her behalf, and he came up and said a few words, so that was very cool.
Yeah, it was.
Also have the names of the runners-up, and they were Sean Kimport of BBI, Bill Garrison of Fastco Fasteners, Ryan McQueen of All West Fasteners and Components, and Melissa Miller. She's also with BBI. So congratulations to all of you folks as well, and thanks to the FTI for making that new level of award.
Yeah, right.
I would be shocked if we're not going to do the scholarship program again next year. Who knows, maybe we can get Cowboy John to even offer more prizes, but it's a great program as it is, if not. And thank you so much again, everybody who submitted. Try again next year if you didn't take the whole thing this year.
And it's good for us because we, talk about training. We're like the Fastener Training Institute. We're very into the fact that training helps the industry, helps the person, helps everyone, okay? Knowledgeable people are great in an industry. So we're very happy to be part of it.
I had a chance to attend the Fastener Industry Coalition meeting before the Vegas show started, and we're going to have more on this. I'm not going to get into it too deeply right now, but they're doing some things, very interesting things about consolidating training opportunities across the spectrum of fastener disciplines, fastener-related disciplines. And there's a lot out there. There's more than just the Fastener Training Institute, although FTI is definitely at the top of their game in their niche. But I think that's what the FIC is going to be doing, at least one of the things they're going to be doing, and it's kind of exciting. They're, I think, hitting their stride over there. This is normally the time, Bri, where I say the Fastener News Report is coming up, but I guess today that's not the case.
Right. So Mike would have been telling us about the show. So what did you think? What was the attendance, do you think?
How the hell do I know? Mike's not here. I don't have the press release, and so we're not going to have the Fastener News Report. However, we are going to have the Fastener Distributor Index numbers for you in just a moment.
Right.
But we'll let you know that the Fastener News Report normally is sponsored by Volt Industrial Plastics and Fastenal. The title sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio are Stelfast and Lindstrom.
Very lucky that they were to be sort of rather close to us. I mean, I'm sure it helped their traffic dramatically. Okay?
Well, as Dick said during the last segment, we'll send them the bill.
Right.
With all the talk about the Vegas show, let's not forget, everybody, there's another show that's coming down the road, and that's going to be, I guess, the biggest show of the year aside from Vegas, at least here in the States. That's Fastener Tech 17, happening in Rosemont, Illinois. This year the show happens June 5th through the 7th, and I know Nancy Rich and the Fastener Technology team is already busy at work preparing for that, getting some breakout sessions, selling booths, and it's a great event. If you haven't been there, folks, go out to fastenertech.com. There's some details, and more are on the way, but we'll be there for sure. And as I said, it's the most important show in the industry next to Vegas.
And some great people turn up there, including us.
And I'm about 100% sure Mike McNulty will be there. He's not here, but he'll be there, folks, and we'll be back right after this.
Yeah.
Volt Industrial Plastics is the source for all your high-quality plastic fastener needs, and customer service is their #1 priority. With almost 1 million fasteners in stock and same-day shipping on stock items, Volt Industrial Plastics carries inventory so you don't have to. Volt manufactures everything in-house from over 125 different materials, and they're proud to say 100% of their products are American-made. And of course, custom tooling and in-house bagging is available. Contact Volt online at www.voltplastics.com. Volt Industrial Plastics, makers of the world's finest plastic fasteners.
For a selection of hundreds of thousands of fasteners, check out your local Fastenal store or fastenal.com. We can stock domestic or internationally sourced product locally and keep your bin stock filled for you at no additional expense. We are a 9001-2008 certified company that's made a huge investment in quality control so you don't have to. And if you can't find it on our shelf, we can make it for you at the quantity you need at one of our many manufacturing facilities. Learn more by contacting your local Fastenal store or visiting fastenal.com today.
I need quarter 20x2 zinc-plated socket head cap screws ASAP. My customer has a line down and needs Saturday delivery. Help!
Solution Man Ken. I have over $1 million in zinc-plated sockets in stock, and I'll gladly drop ship directly to your customer on Saturdays. Visit the Solution Industries website for details at solutionind.com.
Is there anything you can't do, Solution Man?
When it comes to fasteners, nothing I can think of, ma'am. I'm not too good at bowling, though.
Back to the Fastener News Report with Mike McNulty.
All right. Well, no, it's not the Fastener News Report with Mike McNulty. We covered that already. But we are back, and we do have a little bit of what normally would be covered in the Fastener News Report. Right, Bri?
Yeah, right. Wasn't just not with quite as much authority as Mike manages to do it, okay?
And not nearly as focused.
Right. But at the moment, we're much more focused than he is.
That's a good point. Yeah, which is saying something for once. Well, there was a big piece of news related to the Fastener Distributor Index, and if you're a recipient of the monthly report that we send out, I teased this a little bit, did not give a lot of details, but some of you have gotten wind that our previous analyst, Charles Redding, who's been with us for over a year and a half, I would say, had to move on. Things happened over at BB&T Capital Markets, and it just wasn't going to work any longer. He did a wonderful job for us, and we'd like to thank the NFDA for helping us during this interim period, the bridge period, between when Charles was handing off to our new analyst. He's a gentleman by the name of Dave Manthe, and he's with Robert W. Baird & Company. They're also an investment and capital reporting service kind of a business. You can look at their website. But Dave is highly recommended, and he was introduced to me by none other than Holden Lewis, who was the originating analyst over at BB&T that we worked with to kick off the Fastener Distributor Index. So the upshot of this whole thing is that Dave Manthe will be our analyst going forward, and this month for October, he kicked out the numbers. We were working with him back in September and before, making sure that he understood how all the formulas work, but this is the first time that we've had Dave's work, and we're still waiting on the report as we record this, but we do have a number.
And the number is 47.1.
The Fastener Distributor Index number for October was 47.1. That in contrast to September, which was 51.5, August 53.1. So looks like we're on a downward trend again, Bri.
Right. My personal view, and I'm not trained as an analyst in these matters, but I think the uncertainty relating to the presidential election is impacting this number. The reality is, I see it when I just look at what goes on at our site, which is an interesting sort of measure. We've been through all this thing before. The drill downs for last month were almost exactly the same as for the month prior. So there's a bit of a disparity between our measurements at the moment. My own view is that the number 47.1 is not a good measurement of the industry itself. I think it's a little bit higher than that. Probably not. It's not radically above 50, but I think it's in that order, just based on what I see.
Okay, so you're going to take the contrarian view this time.
Yeah, I am.
Another indicator that Holden and Charles always watch. Not sure about Dave. We'll have to ask him. I'm sure he does. Is the Purchasing Managers Index, and that also took a dive for October, I read. So that would be in alignment with what we see for the FTI this time. Again, folks, we're going to embellish this. Odds are Mike McNulty will be back with us next episode, and things will make a little bit more sense.
Right.
Good thing we have a few more Vegas clips to play, Bri.
Just as well. Yeah, because we never set out to be the industry news thing. It was better left up to other people. Okay.
Well, if people didn't know it, they know it now. Here are some more clips from the Vegas show, folks. Thanks for listening to Fully Threaded.
This is Mike Wren from Lindstrom.
Mike, what changes have you noticed from this year, the last year on the show?
Well, it was a great show. This is Friday, so we've had our full day. I'm sorry, this is Thursday, as we had our full day on Wednesday. And we had great attendance. The show is much bigger this year. It was a great Hall of Fame ceremony on the floor yesterday. I thought that was a nice touch, and congratulations to Bruce Wheeler. And we look forward to a busy second day.
How about the new hall? Do you like being down here, or did you like the previous hall?
This hall has been great. It works very well for us. We're in a great spot, and we've had a lot of traffic through here, so we really like it.
Michael Eichinger, Vice President and COO of Bay Fastening Systems and Bay Supply. What I like about the show is it's unique because everyone, including all the exhibitors, interact and do business together, and there's a synergy for the most part between companies. The show is it's really the show of the year. It's the annual show everyone that is in the industry wants to participate in, because it's a way to interact with the people see the people that you do business with on a regular basis, meet new people and new companies to transact business together with. And it's a great opportunity. We actually launched our baysupply.com site, which is a logistics and inventory supply company for distributors in the fastener marketplace. So it's a division of Bay Fastening Systems, and we've been in business since 1962. This is an exciting launch for us. We worked 5 years to put it together, and we couldn't wait to actually announce it at this show. And it's been very, very good for us, the show. We've got a lot of new prospects, a lot of new companies, new manufacturers, new distributors looking to partner with us. So I would say this has been a very good success for us. And we were not sure how the show was going to perform, with the changes and that they were making. But from what I understand, what we've experienced is that it's worked very well this year.
Hello, I'm Frank Duffy from Set Screw and Manufacturing Company out of Elgin, Illinois.
And so how's the show been going for you?
I think it's been going well. It's been better than last year, I think. So hopefully next year will be even better.
All right. And how many business cards have you given out? You were talking about that?
Almost out of business cards. Okay. Out of all the ones I brought. So it's been pretty good.
And you like the corner booth?
I like the corner booth. Better location. More foot traffic. I haven't walked around yet. I've been in the booth all the time.
All right. But that's because you've been so busy.
That's right.
And so that's good.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
I'm on the Traveling Salesman blog and stuff. I've seen the updates and stuff that he sends in. So.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
And that's very good.
Gary Graham with National Threaded Fasteners.
Gary, we were talking yesterday about the Carmen Vertullo's class. Can you tell me a little bit about it? And you're taking on more responsibilities at work.
Yes, last summer I took the IFI training class, or the Certified Fastener Specialist training class in Cleveland, Ohio. It's kind of a benefit, a perk of my job. And the last year I've taken on more responsibility with my company. And a lot of that training has really come into play. I answer a lot of questions now, technical questions, that I have no reason knowing. And I don't know everything offhand. I don't retain a lot of the knowledge. But they taught me how to look the information up and where to go to find it, and how to answer my customers, verbatim with an actual technical answer instead of just something I think I learned or heard on the street.
There you go. So you would recommend that training, huh?
Oh, absolutely. It's an amazing class. There's a lot of knowledge built into the 1 week, but they really teach you how to use that knowledge and how to apply it further in your career.
All right, I am here with
Justin from Index Fasteners.
And Stephen also, CFS Index Fasteners.
All right, so you were both here last year. So tell me the difference that you've seen between the show last year and this year's show.
Well, looking around, the hall is different. The booths are a lot closer together. You seem to have a more intimate feel. There's large import booths across the way that seem to have condensed the rest of our booths, pushing people closer together to the booth, creating more interaction. With that being said, it's hard to distinguish whether or not there is actually more people here or it's just a smaller space that we're all standing in.
Yeah, and just the different layout of the actual show. I find more people. I see a bigger crowd versus last year. I definitely noticed that. Now, again, I'm not sure if it's because of the layout, but a lot more people, which is good. We have a good spot here where we picked out, so I think that's the best thing for us.
I'm here with
Joe Shula from All American Washer Works.
And Joe has been a visitor to the show, and so he's here today, and he was here on the first day. So what did you find different?
Different, it's mixed in a lot. I see a lot of importers in, kind of mixed in the rows, and I know it used to be separated at one point. It was crowded yesterday. I expect it to be crowded today. But so far, I think everybody's still tired from yesterday.
And if that wasn't enough Vegas for you, next up, Cool Hand John Butler and Matt Delawder join us next for our annual NIFS review. It's Fully Threaded. ND Industries has been solving customers' toughest problems through innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service since 1955. A family-owned business, ND Industries manufactures and applies fastener locking, bonding, sealing, masking, and assembling products. Their pre-application process makes fasteners ready to use at the point of assembly, resulting in reduced labor costs, time savings, and superior quality assurance. As a fully integrated company, ND handles all aspects of operations from formulating custom chemical compounds and coating fasteners to providing inline inspection, packaging, and delivery services. ND Industries serves the global market with 13 divisions in the continental U.S. and also facilities in Taiwan, China, and Turkey. Learn more about ND Industries at our website at www.ndindustries.com. ND Industries, innovative technologies, competitive pricing, and industry-leading service. Contact ND today.
Hi everyone, it's Brian Musker. If you're listening to Fully Threaded, then you're no doubt aware of the FCH sourcing network found at fastenersclearinghouse.com. You've probably also heard about our legendary scrubber software that makes listing your inventory on FCH a snap. But have you heard about the new FCH SmartLink interface? With SmartLink, users of Business Edge, InSequel, and Distribution One have a new weapon in the war against excess inventory, because each of these platforms now links directly to the FCH Scrubber system through an automated interface. The best part is that this new tool is available at no additional charge to FCH members who use Business Edge, InSequel, or Distribution One. With SmartLink, you can keep your inventory listings up to date with the click of a button, so it's a win-win for all FCH users. The new FCH FastLink interface is really big news, and we'll be thrilled to have your company using it. Business Edge, InSequel, and Distribution One users should contact their software provider for details, or just call me, Brian Musker. You can reach me through the FCH website at www.fastenersclearinghouse.com. That's fasteners with an S, and the S is for scrubber.
Since 1905, Buckeye Fasteners and the Ohio Nut and Bolt Company have been supplying the world with high-quality fasteners. Our standard product lines include weld fasteners, braided weld screws, leg levelers, self-clinching hardware, clevis pins, rivet nuts, and various other fastener lines, allowing us to support virtually all types of industries. We have complete custom manufacturing capabilities in low carbon, medium carbon, and stainless steel materials, and our quality systems are registered to ISO standards. Our on-staff engineering department can assist you with product development and provide total technical support. Our knowledgeable sales team members offer superior customer service and are here to answer any questions you may have regarding our products. Having a hard time finding a part? Let our sourcing specialists do the work for you to locate those items. We offer competitive pricing with typically smaller minimums and shorter lead times. To find out more about Buckeye Fasteners, please call us at 800-437-1689 or on the web at buckeyefasteners.com. Buckeye Fasteners, more than just weld.
Hey everybody, thank you for listening to the Fastener Training Minute, coming to you from the Carver Fact Center here in beautiful San Diego, California. From time to time, amongst my clients, which include manufacturers, large distributors, suppliers, importers even, there are issues of how to process a reject. The typical scenario is an end user doesn't like a part that they have. They go to their supplier and complain about it. The supplier then goes back to whoever they got it from, whether it's an importer, a manufacturer, or a large distributor, and present their case. And they can't seem to get a fair hearing or any attention or satisfaction. Part of the reason for that sometimes is just that the reject is not properly documented or presented. So what I'm going to do when we come back is I'm going to give you some tips on how to properly present that reject, or maybe it's not a reject, so that whoever you bought the part from will pay some attention to what you're asking them.
Thanks, Carmen. This is Joe Morris with the Fastener Training Institute. What an incredible fall we've had at the Fastener Training Institute, and we are not slowing down as we approach the end of 2016. November and December are great times of the year to invest in yourself with some continuing education from the Fastener Training Institute. I want to tell you about a brand new series of advanced fastener courses that the Fastener Training Institute will be offering. It's called CFS 2.0. That's Certified Fastener Specialist 2.0. This program is the advanced derivative of the existing CFS program and will be accessible only to students who have completed and obtained their CFS credentials. This new lesson series is very, very hands-on and will feature case-based studies with complex real-life scenarios. Now, as I previously mentioned, the prerequisite is CFS designation. There's still time this year for you to become a CFS. December 5th through the 9th at the IFI Training Facility in Independence, Ohio, the Fastener Training Institute will host our final Fastener Training Week for 2016. December's a great time to visit Cleveland. The week will consist of 3 days of classroom instruction and 1 day of plant tours. Please visit our website at www.fastenertraining.com for more information about Fastener Training Week and to register. Our ever-expanding webinar series continues this month with Carmen Vertullo presenting Measuring Fastener Dimensional Features Other Than Threads. You might think that threads are the only fastener feature that requires special gauging to inspect. Well, guess what? You're wrong. This webinar will demonstrate the standard and special gauges used to measure those other fastener features. Now, while I've mentioned an array of our advanced training classes, I can't forget the basics. The Fastener Training Institute will present Fastener Basics one more time this year in December on Tuesday the 13th in California. Again, please visit our website at www.fastenertraining.com for a complete listing of all of our classes. And if you don't see what you're looking for, just call or email me. My email address is jom@fastenertraining.com. Now, back to Carmen for our Fastener Training Minute.
Well, welcome back, everybody. This is Carmen Vertullo again with the Fastener Training Minute on the other side. So I told you that we're going to talk about how to handle a reject when you have to present this to a large manufacturer, importer, supplier, whose attention it's sometimes hard to get. An example came to me recently where a distributor was measuring some parts. This wasn't even a reject. They were measuring them in their quality assurance department, measuring threads using tri-rolls. Tri-rolls gives us some information that we normally don't need with most fasteners, but they're fast and efficient, and everyone that does lots of thread inspection loves to use tri-rolls. Well, the supplier of the part said, hey, we checked them with our ring gauges and they passed, so they're good. Sorry, can't help you. Sounds like an unfair comment, but in fact, it's true. When it comes to threads, any gauge that passes the part makes the part a good part, even if another gauge fails it. Now, the fact is when this happens, it should be a borderline part. So we want to look at that. But when we present our reject to the supplier, we want to be sure to back that up with something, preferably a specification or standard, a table, a size, a tolerance, and so on. Don't just say, hey, my customer doesn't like the way these carriage bolts fit in their square holes. Something's wrong with the neck. Measure the thing. Find out what's wrong with it. Oftentimes, end users will design their part based on a lot that they received at one point in time, not knowing that that lot may not be representative, or probably certainly isn't representative of the full range that that particular feature could have. So they design around a part that they have, then they get one that's on the other end of the tolerance, and it doesn't fit into the hole, or it's very sloppy. This happens often with flathead screws, especially socket screws, which have a large tolerance for head height. End user drills their holes, they countersink their holes, they get the new screws in, and they either stick up too far or they're down too low because they don't realize there's a tolerance. So as the supplier, first off, make sure you have a reject. And once you know you have a reject, then document it properly to your importer or manufacturer before you just throw it at them and say something's wrong with these parts. If you ever have any problem doing that, that is citing your specifications in an authoritative way, just give me a call here at the Fax Center, or better yet, attend the Fastener Training Institute Certified Fastener Specialist class, and you'll learn how to properly present your rejected part to your supplier. This is Carmen Vertullo for the Fastener Training Minute. Thanks for listening.
This is Bryn Stock from Spencer Products, your source for threaded inserts, blind rivets, and huck bolts. You're listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
Brian and Eric, your online fastener polar bear loving buddies, back with you.
Oh, whoever said I like polar bears?
We'll have to talk about that later, Brian. Goes back to one of our previous episodes, and we don't want to muddle up this one because this is our annual NIFS wrap-up. Happens every year, and got a couple of guys to join us. Of course, the NIFS is really a misnomer now. A lot of people call it the Vegas Show, but it's officially now known as the National Industrial Fastener and Mill Supply Expo.
Which is too many letters to remember on a string, okay?
Kind of a mouthful. Hopefully we've got John Butler with the Olander Company with us.
Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Doing good.
Happy to be on this show. Thank you for having me.
And from SWD, home of the Black Ox, it's Matt Delawder. Hey, Matt.
Hey, how you doing, Eric and Brian? It's good to hear from you.
Yeah, like.
We all made it back in one piece once again.
I did come back with a bigger wallet for a change. That was nice.
Oh, you must have got what I lost.
Yes, thank you very much. Poker is my game, so Texas Hold'em treated me well. I was able to win the tournament when I came in on Monday night, and then next night I won a little over 600, so it was nice to come home with half of that by the time I gave some back.
That's awesome.
Good for you. Good for you. Yeah, it's good to hear occasionally somebody's a winner. We got to, I think, insert a little nickname into your moniker, John. I mean, we always just call you kind of straight. Maybe how does John Cool Hand Butler sound?
I'm starting to get nervous.
How do you like eating boiled eggs?
That's okay, actually. When I was younger.
Not as many as he had to eat, okay?
No, thank you.
Right.
Fortunately, there was a lot more than boiled eggs to talk about at this year's Fastener Show. We had a pretty good experience out there with our Fasteners Clearinghouse FCH Sourcing Network booth. I can say that. We were right there in the shadow of the Green Machine Lindstrom booth. They had a really giant, all-revised booth this year that looked great, and the traffic going down our aisle was, I think, pretty respectable for the most part. Second day tailed off a little bit. That usually happens, but overall, thumbs up from FCH, at least from my point of view. John, how did you find it? I know you had a booth out there with the Olander Company as well.
Yeah, it's the first time that we had a booth, and we unveiled our new company logo. It's the Olander family of companies, because we do have three companies: the Olander Company, Olander Fasteners, and the Olander Corporation.
And being that it was the first time that we've ever had a booth, we really made a splash. A lot of people were talking about why we were there, why we had so many people in attendance there. And we found that it was great to be able to help train people on some of our product lines, such as Helicoil, AVK, Pop, and Nordlock.
Throwing them right into the fire.
Yeah, it's funny, some of these lines seem so easy, but if you don't have all of the technical aspects of how hull preparation, it can become difficult.
Well, that's interesting. We talk about the shows all the time, and seldom do we hear people say that they're using it as a training tool for their staff, but that's kind of cool. Matt, how about you? What was your takeaway from the show this year, just in general, before we get the hour-by-hour rundown?
I thought the show was really well attended. You could tell that the show floor was full. I was really impressed with the number of people that we were able to see. And I don't know, we did the show for the first time in a long time. Last year we had a booth introducing our new Magni license coatings, and found that the show was pretty beneficial last year. So we said, let's try it again and just see if we can pick up a little bit more business from people who might not know that we're doing the Magni coatings. So we decided to sign up for a booth. We had great number of people come by and a lot of interest in utilizing SWD for their Magni coatings.
So did you think then that you had more people coming to you to talk about your coatings this year versus last year?
Yeah, I really did feel that we had more people come by our booth looking specifically for the Magni coatings. Some of them were companies that I'd never heard of. A lot of them were companies that we either do business with currently or have done business with in the past.
Yeah.
But I was really impressed with, again, the number of people that were going through and the size of the show this year. I think I saw somewhere where they were up 20%. Now, I don't know if that was in total attendance or in the number of companies that were displaying, but it really felt like a bigger show this year.
Yeah, it did in a lot of ways. Just to be clear, Matt, for folks listening in, although this may be only the second time in many years that you've been exhibiting out there, you're pretty much of a regular out there at NIFS, so you've got a lot to compare with. You're the past president of the MWFA also, so you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, and we do, the Fastener Tech show every other year. As a matter of fact, that'll be coming up again in 2017. I have been going to the show actually since 2001. We displayed back, I think, for the first time in 2002 when it was at the Paris Expo Center and between Paris and Valleys. And we thought that was actually a pretty good show. However, SWD wasn't maybe as well known in the industry at that time. And we found that it was better suited for us to be able to actually see all of our customers more by walking the show and just shaking hands and seeing them after the show at dinners and things like that.
Yep.
So we did the show, I think, 2 or 3 years in a row when it was at the Paris, and then when they moved it to Mandalay Bay, we said, okay, we'll try it again. And we did it 2 years there, again, finding the same type of thing where we weren't necessarily getting new customers, and we were seeing customers who had their own booths and really didn't have time to walk around the show, so we were missing some of our key customer base during showtime, so we would walk it. And I actually, like I said, have walked the show or had a booth at it since 2001.
Congratulations on picking up that Magna coating. This is what I felt, that having a booth, you met a lot of new people versus just walking the booth. I've been walking the show, I've been walking the show for about 10 years now. And I was very surprised that having a booth, you meet a lot of new people. Did you find that as well?
Yeah, you absolutely do. You meet people who you may have been dealing with an engineer at a company, and now you're meeting maybe in some cases a vice president, or you're meeting a material sourcing, a different position in a company that you've known about. I know, so for example, you mentioned Lindstrom, that you guys were by Lindstrom. We were also in the same row as Lindstrom. And I've been dealing with Bernie Longen from Lindstrom for quite a while. Well, I had the opportunity to meet Mike Lindstrom, who is the namesake of that company. who I really hadn't had the chance to meet previously. So it does give you an opportunity to meet a whole bunch of new people who come by just because they know you're there, they look you up, and they look up what you're able to do.
Well, I can speak for personal experience on that one because I made a committed effort this year to actually hang out in the booth more. I think I was pretty successful, don't you, Bri?
Yeah, you did pretty well this year. Usually we see you on like the first morning and then the last afternoon.
Right.
Or maybe wearing a Solutions Industries Solution Man outfit somewhere.
Sometimes that as well, okay?
You never know. But this year I did. I tried to stay in the booth, and I have to agree that it's a different experience. And I'm glad that I did it. And I just wish that we had more team members, really, because there's so much to get done when we're there. You only have a day and a half to work with. You know, before we move on, though, Matt, I have to ask you, in addition to having that different experience being in the booth and out of the booth for so many years, just walking the show, I bet one of the other benefits was you had a lot less people coming up and asking you to leave the show floor for suitcasing. True?
Oh, yeah, you know, I'll tell you what, I had been harassed a little bit, and I really wasn't. I would just go around and say hello to my current customers and things like that, but, you know, I was told at one point that I wasn't going to be able to attend because that's all I was doing. And I was like, really? Because the sorting machine manufacturers have asked me to be there to see their equipment. So I'm going there for a dual purpose. Yeah, sure, I want to see my customers. But I was never bringing literature along with me and trying to talk anybody into utilizing our systems.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I was kind of joking around because I know they make a pretty big deal out of no suitcasing. I'd actually never heard that term used before I hit the Fastener Show. So I've seen you at the show many times, and I never saw you once with a suitcase. So I'll stand up for you if you ever get into trouble, man.
I appreciate that. Yeah, no, I was taken back when I was told that I shouldn't attend because that's all I was going to be doing. I was just like, wow, I don't know where that's from.
Yeah, well,
and the show's under new management now, so I don't think that they have maybe some of the same issues.
Well, they may, but the truth is that everyone there is doing business with other people who are exhibiting as well, or most people. And so you have to have time to go run around and see people as well as sit in a booth. So all of us have to do two separate things.
I hate to say it. I've always said that I thought the second day of the show was a waste. And honestly, because I was in my booth so long the first day, pretty much the entire day, I didn't get a chance to walk the show the first day, and then to only have a half day the second day to walk the show and see the people who either didn't come to my booth or who I wanted to see, like I said, the sorting machine manufacturers or the packaging equipment manufacturers.
Yeah.
I still didn't get around the entire show in that half day, which in the past I'd always been able to hit everybody I wanted to hit. So I missed quite a few booths that I would have liked to have seen. Of course, I did get around to see Rusty Bolt on the first day, which I'm really happy about, and Marty Nolan and his team. So
yeah, I always go there when your throat's getting a bit dry after you've talked for 5 hours or something. It's very important to get a Rusty Bolt.
Buckeye Fasteners had the old Rusty Bolt flowing, and it was much appreciated that first day, for sure. Well, let's roll it back, gentlemen. The date was Tuesday, October 25th. It was actually the setup day, but there were a lot of things going on, and of course that evening was the big welcoming reception. When did you make it into town, John, and what did you make of it once you got there?
I got in on Monday night just to make sure, since this was the first time that we were having a booth.
To play poker, let's be honest.
To make sure I was there, make sure everything was going fine. So we got into town, some of us on Tuesday, some of us just on Wednesday for one particular day, but to get together and make sure everything was going smoothly. So Tuesday morning, we had our plan to set up our booth. And no matter what show you're doing, there's always going to be something that just wasn't right, whether you didn't have a electrical outlet that you asked for or the airline coming down that you asked for that they politely told us it was at 200 PSI. I don't know too many systems that need 200 PSI unless you're running one of those larger sorting machines, but it played a little bit of havoc with our tools, and we did have to do some adjustments and tinkering around. But it was really good to have that morning set up time, and we didn't have it set up in the amount of time that we thought we did. So when I had to leave to have meetings at lunch with one of our vendors, it made me a little bit nervous about making sure that we were going to complete everything. But we had such a great team involved with our setup that I shouldn't have ever had to worry. Things went very well for us on Tuesday, and also attended seminars, stopped by at the Anne-Marie Hoftaling's session on growing your business, which I think was just fantastic. There was probably 10 of us in there, new and old distributors. So you got to meet new people and listen to a discussion on growing your business and speaking with employees to better get a handle on how you interact with your employees and to how to change my way of thinking and to try and communicate a little bit better with my team. So it was a great day on Tuesday. The reception out at Treasure Island poolside was just fantastic. For the people that did not attend, everybody that came in was offered a captain's hat and also a pair of sunglasses.
Did you catch the theme they were trying to develop on that? Because I guess I missed it a little bit. What was the theme with all that? Obviously, we were by a pool, so there was water, but I kind of lost it after that.
Yeah, it was Treasure Island, so I assumed that, it was geared towards that, having a ship, but that was the question that we were asking ourselves as well. It didn't seem to have a defined theme.
Did you get one of those hats, Bri?
Yeah, I did, actually. And I was trying to carry it around for a while, then I got so much crap in my hands, I just put it on, and I wandered around. Bob Bear stopped me and said I was the only person at the show who actually looked like I should have a hat like that.
Coming from him, that's saying something. He knows a little bit about fashion.
Bob Bear. I was very impressed, actually.
I don't think that fit into his GQ look, so I didn't see Bob with that. He did mention how much he liked being called GQ, by the way.
He can't escape it now, Cool Hand. Well, I tell you, getting back, though, to the setup and everything, Brian, I think it went fairly smoothly. We had a few things missing from our booth when we got there, but the show management was very, very responsive. I think by the time you got off your plane, I'd already been to the booth to check it out. All of those problems had been rectified. All the electronics worked. Our web server worked. You did a fantastic job, as always. We've got this down to a science now.
Yeah, it's still a bit of panic when you start turning things on, because no matter how often you test something, because basically we run a complete web server in our booth to make sure that we're not dependent on network connections or anything like that. So no matter what happens, we can still keep running, and sometimes it's not always as easy as it should be. But this time everything was just set up and ran like clockwork.
That is true. Well, just to keep things moving along, I'll make a quick comment about the Young Fastener Professionals event, because I was off from the show floor setup area to that event. Originally, I was very excited because they claimed that they had 220 or so people signed up for this event, and I don't doubt that. I believe that's true. I think what happened, though, unfortunately, this happens at so many shows, at sessions that I've run in the past at Fastener Tech and elsewhere. Lots of folks just don't make it after they've signed up. So when we got to the room where the big speed dating event was going to take place, it was really not that tightly packed. I think there was 40, 50 people in there, and they were actually not all that happy. However, as time went on, the room did fill in. I think there was probably something north of 100 people there. And the event that took place was very, very good. I frankly, I don't know how they could have managed more people, so it might have been a mixed blessing. But the Young Fastener Professionals did a good job in at least putting out the welcome mat. And I say that for the future, when they do these things, they should count on a lot of people dropping out. That's the lesson that I take away from it. But keep doing the event, because, boy, you really get to meet a lot of interesting people, and it's a wonderful event. John, you were out there.
Yeah, it was a fantastic venue to be able to network. That's what they touted it as, is a networking event, and that's exactly what it was. They still had another dozen tables that they could have had more people come in. And one of the things that we look at when these exhibits go on is that there's a little bit of overlap when it comes to sessions, whether I'm at a session with Anne-Marie Hoftaling and then Wi-Fi is having something at the same time. Right after Wi-Fi then was the YFP. And there's a little bit of time in between there that you need to get to different places or run back to the room, get a change of clothes, something of that nature. So it was really a tight schedule. And I think that's why you had people that filled in later on.
It's a tight schedule, and Matt wasn't able to make it either because of the same reason. So it's never a perfect time whenever you put these sessions, but we all do the best we can. In any event, good job to the young fastener professionals, another feather in your cap. So again, that evening was the welcome reception. I don't know about you guys. I, for one, felt much safer this year because, as you know, it took place poolside, and this year I noticed they had a lifeguard on duty.
Well, I think the lifeguard was on duty not to save someone from drowning in a pool, but from drowning in alcohol. They did have it flowing this year. It did seem to be easier to get a drink of soda or alcoholic beverage, if you so choose, compared to last year. So I think it was a huge step up compared to the previous years. What I did not know, and I did find out afterwards, was they had a whiskey tasting room and also a cigar bar that I didn't know was going on until I heard afterwards.
I didn't know about that either.
It was not very well advertised. I don't know, somehow I sniffed that out. And there was a little cabana on the side, and they were hand-rolling Dominican cigars. Now, I don't know if it was... I know the gentleman was Dominican. I don't know where the tobacco came from, but I could tell you this, a smoother draw I have never experienced.
Nice.
Ah.
Very nice cigars, although I'm not sure that the non-cigar smoking fastener people out there were as appreciative, but there were quite a number of us, and they were very nice. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, the thing that I noticed was that there were a lot of people there, and I was noticing that if they had tried to fit all those people into where we used to go into Harrah's on the original reception night, it would have been impossible.
Yeah, especially with a bunch of us smoking cigars.
Even without that. I mean, and the other thing is that the Harrah's place, it was always too loud, and there's so many people crammed in the room. So it's a really good setting around the pool. I like that whole setting.
It has ran into a lot of people since I've moved out from the Midwest to out here in California, where it's always sunny and there's never any snow, unless you go up to Tahoe. It's good to see old friends again. I was able to see the lovely and talented Lynn Dempsey and talk with her and Mr. Muska for a while, and I really appreciated that. Even if we all did have captain's hat on. Tom Buddenbone was there. I ran into Tom as well. Hadn't run into Tom for a while. Rich Cavoto. A lot of people that I haven't seen in a long time.
Right. Yeah, it was a good night.
Well, it flew by, as always does. And they extended, by the way, gentlemen, they officially extended the open bar for 30 minutes. So it was an hour and a half this time. Of course, a lot of people stood around much after that. And that all got wrapped up. Everyone went their separate ways. And one way or another, we all, in various states of recovery, wound up on the show floor on Wednesday morning. One thing that I noticed right off the top was Jim Bannister's voice was not there. You know, normally he announces it. We've had the recording, I think, on the podcast, and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, the show is now open." It really didn't go down that way this year. All of a sudden, you just started hearing this rumbling, and you figured, okay, it must be 9.
Yeah, I actually don't like that. I actually preferred when they used to announce when the show was open, and a number of people I talked to all said exactly the same thing, because it's sort of a cut-over or telling you, hey, you've got to get back to your booth and all sorts of things, and you don't really know, did they keep it closed, for longer? Why? Who knows? But, I mean, I prefer when old Jim used to make his announcement, so that's one thing I miss.
Matt, what were your thoughts as you heard that rumbling down at the end of the aisle? I mean, you haven't been exhibiting as long. Did you get the heebie-jeebies, and were you ready to do battle?
I was really excited, and because of our placement, like I said, we were just a few rows away from the Asian-only rows, I think. I'm not sure exactly what those rows were called, but it took people till about 10 o'clock to really make it over to our row in the 2400 aisle. But once they started coming, boy, it really moved, and there were a lot of people coming by from, like I say, about 10 o'clock all the way through to 1:30. I was wondering when lunch was going to hit, because when I've been on the show before, somewhere around noon, everything kind of dies down, and then you're questioning whether people are going to come back in the afternoon. And I'm glad to say this year, about 1:30, it started to die off, but by 2 and 3, things were coming back, and I can't say that I really had too much quiet time at our booth. I hope that other people had the same issue, and everybody who displayed at the show thought that the traffic was good. There were a couple times, especially in the morning, where we had 3 or 4 people who wanted to talk to us, and some would walk away and then would come back. We actually had a couple of people who I know walked by and wanted to talk to us, but it's more of a friendly, just wanted to stop by, and sadly they never had the opportunity to come back.
Yeah, my impression was that we had a lot of people walking past since we were next to Lindstrom, because there were a lot of people around there. But I think I had more people stop by last year than this year, actually. I had more activity, actually, on the last day. Strange, I thought that wouldn't have been the case.
Well, our booth was 525, so I was on the opposite end of where Matt was, and people were starting to come by right at 9 o'clock. It seemed like they may have started on the low end and continued their way through. From past experience myself, I've always taken the full 2 days in order to go through every booth that was there. Last year, I set up meetings with different people that I wanted to hit since I joined Olander Company to bring on new lines. So this year, I, too, thought, well, we'll see what happens after lunch. For me, it did die down right around 12 o'clock, but 1:15, 1:30, it started picking back up again. And that's when I thought, okay, this is going to be a better year than previous years as far as the exhibit goes, the total exhibit. And it continued again throughout the day. And I think having the additional training, the Hall of Fame, the Young Fastener Professional Award to Ryan Curtis really kept people on the floor. And that's what you want to have, is a reason to stay there, so that you're not going off and having a beer with someone and then just spending the afternoon talking with vendors off-site. You want to keep people on the exhibit floor. And I think that's what they did. So I think it was a good change this year for day one.
I have to agree with you, John. That Hall of Fame event was a big success. It kept people around. But I will say, guys, that when you saw that reduction in traffic around lunchtime, that's because they tapped the keg of Old Rusty Bolt over in the Buckeye booth, and that sucked people in like a magnet.
And here I thought it was their new chess set that they had put out there. Little did I know.
Yeah, that was very cool. They were raffling that off. But on the subject of kegs, I have to also say that right down from us was InSequel Software. They had a keg too. It wasn't Old Rusty, but they had a keg which they tapped at 10, which was cool. And then right across was Lindstrom. They had a keg as well. So well done to our friends and sponsors. I see a pattern there, Bri.
Yeah, I know.
Well, the Fastener people are always thirsty, so it's good to have multiple people helping and bide.
That is true. Whether that's good or bad is another matter. That's true, though.
Let's talk for a moment about that Hall of Fame event. I don't know if you all had a chance to go there. Brian and I were sure there. Sounds like you were too, John. Of course, Bruce Wheeler was inducted as the 2016 Hall of Fame inductee, and his wife did a wonderful job, I thought, warming him up. And then he had just a great acceptance speech. I think I actually saw a couple gals in the audience that had tears in their eyes.
I thought it was a fantastic tribute to a really wonderful person. I'm glad that they did this on the show floor. It was a great speech. We really appreciate it. It would have been the microphone being a little bit louder would have been fantastic. Yeah. Some of the parts that you didn't catch, but all in all, it was a great tribute. And having the wall back there with the people's names on it, you could just look through and see the people that have paved the way for us to do what we do.
I thought seeing the wall on the floor, it was really neat to see that they had built the wall there for the Hall of Fame, and it looks like that's going to be going around to the show as it moves to the Las Vegas Convention Center as well. So congratulations to them for bringing that back.
Yeah, I was very impressed I'd gone to that effort, actually.
That was pretty cool. There are photos of that out on Twitter, folks, if you haven't seen it yet, and I'm sure it'll be in Link Magazine and others. But overall, a success. Now, we did our fully threaded Fastener Training Institute award presentation. We mentioned that earlier in the podcast, and that was great, too. We just overall were very impressed with the event, and hopefully they expand on that. We should also point out, which we haven't said yet, that this was the first, I guess, and the last year that the show was held in the space it is. We moved down a couple of doors from where we've been at the Sands Expo Center the last few years, and that accounted for a little bit of the shuffling of the booths and so forth. So that might have caused people a little bit of duress, shall we say, but not too much, but shook things up a little bit this year, didn't it?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I, for whatever reason, didn't realize that they had moved the show down when I booked my booth and or when I arrived, because I was going to set my booth up and was like, this is Money 2020, and it's not the Fastener Show. Where am I supposed to be? And they directed me to Expo rooms B through D or whatever it was, and I thought the show floor actually worked out well, and I think having been in a new space might have been part of the reason that I felt that the show was a little more lively, just because people get used to it being somewhere and kind of know where everybody's at. People like Beacon and NOF have always had booths up at the front, and this year the booths were kind of scattered from what they had been in the past, so it made it a new show for people, I personally think.
One thing that I noticed also, and this is, I believe, due to Emerald Expositions being the new owner, there was a spattering of miscellaneous booths you never used to see, like a hand cream booth was there. They had some cell phone accessories people and a couple more like kind of Ron Popeil style booths. And you never used to see that, but I'm sure that these are companies that do a lot of business with Emerald. I wonder how they did. I didn't really get a feel for that at all. It wasn't like they had lines of people in front of their booths, but I wonder what kind of business they did. Anybody get a feel for that?
Well, walking by, I did see that there was a half dozen people. It was some cell phone charger or whatever it was. I'm not quite positive. You hardly have enough time if you are an exhibitor to be able to man your booth, go around and take a look at the other booths, but to stop and to find out everything about someone that's selling peripherals, not something I had time for.
No, I didn't get a chance to walk by, but when I saw them, there was one booth that I think they were doing makeup, so they had quite a few people in line, ladies in line to have their makeup done, and there was another company that was selling these little shock treatment things that were supposed to relax you. You put a pad on and put electric shock through your muscles, and it's supposed to make you feel better on the show floor, I guess, but I didn't really stop by. I saw a couple people in line, but not too many.
Yeah, I got nabbed by the guys who were trying to deal with the muscle relaxation thing, but I was in my hurry to get back to relieve Eric at the booth, okay, and I suddenly realised I've got what the guy had stuck in my hand. I haven't got time for this crap.
So back to fastener themes then. What were people talking about on the show floor? You guys were all working your booths. You were shaking a lot of hands, meeting a lot of people, walking down the aisles, it sounds. So anything in particular stand out in your mind, John?
Besides a lot of questions about what do you think about this year's show? What do you think about next year's going to be coming? For us, it was glad to see you guys here. Why are you here? that was basically where we were at. Can I have a free T-shirt? We did a lot of advertising beforehand through social media. We gave away etched bottles of wine for the show. One side had the etching of the show logo, and the other side had our three companies on it. So that was a buzz. We gave away a lot of T-shirts that stated "Keep calm and hold it together."
Those
and
were
on
cool.
The back, thank you. But we took a lot of photos with a lot of different people, and we probably gave away over 200 of the T-shirts at the minimum. Yeah, they were quite catchy. We also had candy bars with our three logos on the candy bar itself, and that was quite a stir as well. But our main thing there was to give product knowledge to customers that we currently had. Was good to finally shake some hands and meet the customers that are across the country that we do sell to because of our proprietary lines.
Those sound like some good giveaways, and sounds like you guys were all business. Matt, any themes about what's going on in the industry from people you talk to?
A lot of people that I talked to really, hydrogen embrittlement came up all over the place. It seemed like anybody I talked to, that's like the catchphrase in the fastener industry right now, and so that's the big word.
Well, that's your business, right? Preventing it, in part.
It's preventing it, yeah. And luckily, all the finishes that we do here are known to be non-cause of hydrogen embrittlement. So I have that going for me. But beyond that, I would agree with John that people are definitely wondering what's going to be happening next year with it at the new Expo Center and where people are going to stay and will people come back after lunch? Are they going to have lunch on the floor? But I know that you want to talk about that a little bit later, but really that was a big thrust of the conversation that people had. As far as the business environment, I think everybody I talked to thought that the show was well attended. I kept hearing that, this is a really well attended show. You guys are busy. And beyond that, a lot of people we talked to said business looked like it was going to be solid through third quarter into the fourth, and of course slow down in December like it typically does. But I think there was a lot of optimism. Of course, you heard about the election that's coming up and what that might bring to the fastener industry or to manufacturing as a whole. Yeah, I didn't get a good pulse for what people were thinking as far as whether it be Hillary or Trump or maybe Johnson, but you heard a lot of different wrangling about what's happening with the politics of today too.
Did you? I was curious to hear that because I had just the opposite. I didn't hear anything. I heard more about the World Series than I did about politics. So that's very interesting, Matt.
There was a lot of talk about the World Series as well. You're 100% right. Go Cubs.
Yeah, right. And we did have a Cubs logo on the front of our booth. That was important too. Actually, it's interesting because a lot of people, especially the owners of the companies aren't that familiar with Fasteners Clearinghouse, though we would wish they were. So quite often you can see people, you can tell which ones are going to not look at your booth. And so catching them by asking the question sort of disarms them, which I have fun doing that. Had one guy ask them, do you ever source for fasteners? And he said, no. Do you ever buy or sell fasteners? No. I said, well, you're in the wrong show. You need to go to the money show next door, okay? Because if you don't do anything with fasteners, what are you doing here?
Yeah, there were quite a few well-heeled people walking around that were at that money show, and there were a lot of them. That was kind of interesting. Well, that's I guess a pretty good wrap-up of day one of the show. We didn't have the bourbon room to visit at this year. That was all closed down. There was a little bit of, I guess, last-minute attempts at getting an after-party going. It doesn't sound like it was all that well attended, although I think a lot of the younger set went out to, what was that place called? Senor Frogs. I was not there. Anybody have any fun out there Wednesday night? Did you make any money? Sounds like you did, John.
Yeah, I actually played a cash game and sat down for 15 minutes and cleared 600, so that was pretty cool. I had a dinner after some of the shorter meetings, and that went on for about 4 hours. So afterwards, I stopped over at Senior Frogs. It was probably around midnight, and ran into Marty Nolan and Cameron Dorsey, some other people that are from the Pac West Association. Hans Fuller and his wife Karen were there. It was probably about 20 people tops that were there. The party seemed to be mellowed at that time. And I didn't stick around too long. I just said hello to everybody and went up to the bed because I knew I had to get an early start in the morning.
At 12 o'clock, if you're demoing the next day, it needs to be mellow, okay?
Yes, I hear that.
Okay. Unlike some of the people who are at our own booth who haven't paid that much attention to that advice.
Well, you do have rookies that were working your booth this year from self-professed there.
Right.
I think it all worked out well, gentlemen. Well, that brought us to Thursday morning, which was the previous Friday morning. In past years is what I mean. But Thursday morning, I thought was actually pretty well attended. I thought that a lot of people showed up looking pretty chipper. Maybe that was because the Bourbon Room isn't around anymore. Don't know. But the first hour or so was a little slow, and then we had a pretty strong hour or so, and then it kind of fell off a cliff. That was my impression.
Oh, I think it remained pretty good through to about 11. Actually, I mean, we had more people piled up around our booth on the second morning than we did on the first day.
The good part about the second day, in my opinion, is that the people that have exhibits are able to go around and view other vendors that are out there, say hello to people that they haven't seen before, and take a look at new product that might be out there. So I was rather happy with the amount of people that were coming through the second day. And that was the hit for me as to whether it was a good show or not, besides, whether we start booking orders off of it, was the attendance for the second day and was it well attended. And I thought it was successful.
I would agree that the show seemed to be really well attended the second day. You always wonder what you're going to see, and I don't know if it was people from the other booths walking around or it was people who were just finally getting over to that 2400 aisle that we were over by. But, yeah, it started off busy pretty much right around 9 o'clock when the show started, and from what I saw, stayed busy up until, like you were saying, right around 11, but shortly after 11, the only people in the aisles were the people who had booths, it seemed like.
I think that's right. It was good. It's sort of you wonder to what extent they could have extended the thing off. I know that people are busily all trying to get home, but the fact is it's a big show, and it'll get to some stage where you simply cannot deal with the whole show in 1.5 days.
I think that if you go ahead and make it into a 3-day show, 3 full days, you put more of the sessions during the days. The one hindrance to that is some of the exhibitors only had 2 people that were working their booth, whereas you would need more people to attend your booth to be able to send people off and have these other sessions during the show itself. So we had, say, 10 to 11 people that we brought to the show, and that allowed us to be able to take breaks and to go around and see other vendors, but also to attend things like the Hall of Fame and Ryan Curtis's being the first recipient of the Young Fastener Professional Award.
Those last hours of the show are often very productive. You get a lot of people, even though many of the attendees have left the building. Your fellow exhibitors are out there. I don't think it's suitcasing if you paid for a booth myself, Matt. And you're out there basically doing what you need to do, talking with your fellow exhibitors. We've done a lot of productive things. So, folks, when you go to these shows, work bell to bell. It'll pay off for you.
Yeah.
And the show did wind down. So thanks for your input and your memories on the show this year, gentlemen, such as they are. And we have something a little bit different next year to look forward to still. And that is a change of venue. This time, not just a room, but we're actually leaving the facility. We're going down the strip, actually off the strip, as I understand it. And a lot of people, Matt, you were saying, we're talking about that move in your booth when they walk by.
Yeah, I heard it everywhere, whether it was new customers or people who I've known for a long time. Just like we had that slowdown at lunchtime, which you expect to see. But, a lot of times people end up having business meetings at those luncheons. They take a customer out, and a lot of times they're not taking them to the little cafeteria at the back of the expo center. They're taking them out to one of the nicer restaurants, maybe in the mall or maybe at a totally different location. But that's the question is, do those people, if they leave, end up coming back since it's so far off the strip? I mean, there's going to be people who have their lunch on the strip, and I'm sure once they're there, they're not going to make it back to the show. Or at least that's the feeling that I have, and that's the feeling that I heard.
Well, the other question is going to be, are they just not going to leave the area because it is such a headache? So, as I understand it, it's the Las Vegas Convention Center. Not a lot of facilities directly adjacent to it. So my guess is Emerald knows what they're doing. They're going to set some things up, some provisions. So maybe it'll be a mix. Some people hang closer, some people go off site. We're going to have to see about that.
Right.
Well, I think you're going to see some people that may drop off for a year to see how it goes. They may just go attend instead of exhibiting, whereas other people, hey, let's go exhibit. This is going to be all new. They hear about how well this year went, that they're not going to take a chance on missing that first year at the Las Vegas Convention Center.
We'll make sure to have representatives from Emerald Expositions on as soon as we can so they can give us their insights. They're a professional company. I think they know what they're doing. Next year, in case you were wondering, folks, the dates of the show are October 17th through the 19th. It's 2017, of course. If you look on the website, they haven't done all the updates yet for the upcoming show. Some of the 2016 stuff's still out there. And so if you look at the header, it still says Sands Expo, but it won't be there. So I'm sure they'll be updating that very soon. Well, we'll all be there one way or another, and we'll make do. And my guess it's going to be another really good show unless, everything falls off a cliff after November.
Well, apparently you can get to where this place is from that, the monorail. I mean, transport to it is a problem, but I believe the monorail goes there.
Just in case you weren't having that Disneyland experience quite enough with what you got now, folks.
Well, remember it used to be when Mandalay Bay, they had that tram thing that used to go from, I don't know,
Luxor and...
those hotels, but the thing never ran in the mornings, okay? So you had to try and have breakfast and rush up to your booth, walking like 3 miles, dragging everything to get there. So we've had it worse, okay?
Well, we'll all be there. And when I say we, I mean Brian, Eric, John Cool Hand Butler from the Olander Company, and Matt Delawder, home of the Black Ox and SWD. Thanks so much, guys, for joining us. It was great to see you out in Vegas. We see you from time to time at the various industry events, so I'm sure we'll be talking to you soon.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you and the audience. And I think it's a great show. It's good to see everybody in the industry out there, and it's going to be a lot of fun next year as well.
Right, I think so.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Appreciate you having me on. Special kudos go out to Susan Hurley and Emerald Expositions. Did a great job. Fully threaded. Just great. I'd like to also thank the associations that represent all of us out there. I'm not getting an award, but I sound like I am. But I just want to say thanks to everybody that put all this together. It was a great time for us. And the Olander Company, the Olander Corp, and Olander Fasteners are Olander proud.
Thank you. Wow.
Vegas 2016 was a blast. See you out there next year, folks. We'll be right back with more Fully Threaded Radio.
Happy trails.
They're like more cowbell for the fastener industry. Brian and Eric. Fully Threaded Radio.
How do you make the top name in packaged fasteners even better? Combine it with one of the best-known names in the fastener business. Announcing that Titan Fasteners is now a proud part of Lindstrom. For more than 50 years, the Titan name has provided distributors with experience, technical expertise, and full customer support in every package that's shipped. For fastener needs in in-plant maintenance, industrial and construction, MRO and automotive, fleet, farm, building and grounds. Available by the box, keg, or pallet. Titan means packaged fasteners, and Lindstrom means choice, flexibility, and value. And together, we now offer more than 133,000 SKUs. For value-added fastener solutions in metric or inch, turn to Lindstrom and Titan Fasteners. To learn more about Titan Fasteners, visit titanfasteners.com. Lindstrom, by any measure. To speak with a sales representative, call 1-800-789-8112.
When top quality and outstanding service are at the top of your list in fastener suppliers, turn to Stellfast. Since 1976, Stellfast has grown to become an industry-leading importer and manufacturer of the highest quality industrial fasteners, specialty items, and automotive parts. Our array of facilities across North America and in Asia, along with full quality control labs and ISO 9001-2008 certifications, ensure the highest quality parts, and at Stellfast, they're delivered with undisputed service excellence. We're family-run and dedicated to your success. Our customers have come to depend on the expertise of our staff and the quality of our products. We also offer a wide range of secondary services to meet some of the toughest requirements you might have. Contact Stellfast today through our website at www.stellfast.com and put us to work for you. Stellfast. Service you deserve, people you trust.
Are you tired of empty promises from software vendors? Are you paying for support that you're not receiving? Is it time for another paid upgrade? There is a solution. InSequel delivers quality software designed for the fastener industry at an affordable price with industry-leading support. Unlike other software companies, with InSequel, you purchase your software once. There will never be a paid upgrade. If you need assistance with anything, InSequel is there to help. When you call, you will always speak with a real person offering you quick and knowledgeable answers to your questions. Can your current provider say this? Quality software, affordable pricing, industry-leading support. Only InSequel can deliver all three. So why settle? Call InSequel Software at 877-446-9775 or visit www.inxsql.com.
This is Bill Johansson from Delta Secondary in Bensonville, Illinois, the fastener distributor source for all specials and secondary operations. And you are listening to Fully Threaded Radio.
You know, Bri, when I brought up to Matt about suitcasing, I was just kidding. I mean, I had no idea that they'd actually...
Oh, I know. He went through that later. It's sort of a little weird. I can understand why he's a little gun shy. Okay.
Yeah. I think we had a problem one time with a guy who was super aggressive, and he was going around from booth to booth. And all the years that I've been going, that's the only problem that we've ever experienced with our booth. And I can't imagine that Matt ever gave anybody a hard time. It's got to be a case of being a little hypersensitive to the issue. However, one of the great guys in this industry, Matt Delawder, he was also somebody who approached hydrogen embrittlement with a non-tongue-in-cheek approach, which is kind of cool. Kind of a change on the podcast.
Very surprised. Actually, I'm even more surprised he did that without getting a prompt from you first, actually.
Well, it's spontaneous, fastener-related talk radio, Bray.
Spontaneous embrittlement, okay.
So thanks to Matt Delawder of SWD, home of the Black Ox, and John Butler of the Olander Company for joining us on our Vegas show review this year.
All right.
Also, Dick Ripley, he's VP over there at Lindstrom. He joined us for a conversation to kick the show off. We also had Carmen Vertullo with the Fastener Training Minute. Thanks, Carm.
Yep.
And, of course, the lovely and talented Lynn Dempsey did us proud once again by walking the show floor, getting some of those interviews for us. Thanks to everyone who participated in that. It's funny, some people go running in fear when they see her coming, but other people ham it up.
Right.
The title sponsors of Fully Threaded Radio are Stelfast and Lindstrom. Stelfast, for service you deserve and people you trust. Lindstrom, by any measure. Also sponsoring Fully Threaded Radio, Buckeye Fasteners, Fastenal, Fastener Technology International, InSequel Software, Indy Industries, The Worth Group, Volt Industrial Plastics, and Solution Industries, home of Solution Man. Contact us anytime, folks. The email address is ftr@fullythreaded.com. We hang out on Twitter occasionally, especially after the Cubs win. Handle, Fully Threaded.
Right.
And before we wrap this up with a little explanation about Holy Cow, the title of the episode, I'd like to extend a word of thanks to everybody who came out and visited us in Vegas this year. So many cool people, both fans of FCH and the podcast. It was great to see you. Thanks for coming out and saying hello.
Right. And I'm particularly for Ralph Lamando of Bell Metric, who stopped by and told us he was a very, very enthusiastic listener of the show. And some people you don't sort of know. I mean, we don't get much an idea who the people really are unless they come up and say so to us. So he was very happy, and he's a very happy FCH user and came back a couple of times or 3 times to see us, actually.
Yeah, that was great. Thanks, Ralph, and one and all. It was a really good thing.
Yep.
And also on the subject of good things, as it's become pretty obvious throughout the episode today, the Chicago Cubs won the World Series after 108 years. It's particularly poignant for me, and Brian is kind of an adopted Chicago son. And, of course, we had the Cubs paraphernalia at our booth in Vegas this year. Had a lot of fun with Cub fans and Indian fans alike with that.
Right, we did actually. It was good.
And, you know, one of the cool things about this, I don't know if it's a rivalry, but it was just the level of respect that everyone had. I mean, there was some good-natured ribbing, and then even when the Cubs won it all, I think there was a lot of respect, mutual respect back and forth between the two groups. I saw that online and various Facebook postings and things. We can all be proud of that. My mom actually had a suggestion. She said the Indians did such a great job that Emmanuel, he's the mayor of Chicago, he ought to invite the Indians to participate in the victory parade in Chicago, which is happening today. So that's my mom's idea, Bri.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen. Okay, I'm not sure if our mayor likes to share the stage with too many people. Okay.
Yeah, good point. Well, in any event, folks, we're going to close out this episode with the audio from a YouTube video you can get out there. I'm pretty sure this was created by Anheuser-Busch or Budweiser. The channel is on YouTube. It's Budweiser, and we'll put a link on the Facebook page for this. But this is going around, and it's just a fantastic video that depicts what legendary Chicago Cubs broadcaster, the late, great Harry Carey, might have said as he called the final out of the game. And I tell you, for Chicago fans, this put a chill down our spines and a tear in our eyes. And let's just wrap it up with that. What do you think?
Okay, I think we should. Yep. Let's go.
This is for Cub fans and Indian fans and all baseball fans and Fastener fans alike. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Right. See you next time, and we'll have Mike McNulty with us, okay?
Sure as God made green apples, someday the Chicago Cubs are going to be in the World Series, and maybe sooner than we think. Harry Carey of Cleveland. It's such a pleasure to see you, especially on a noteworthy night indeed. Cubs 3 outs away from winning. Boy, if you've got a weak heart, turn the set off.
Come on, boys.
The rest of you stay with us. The crowd quiet. Now ready. The pitch. Bouncing ball. There's a throw. He is out. Cubs win. Cubs win. Cubs are the champion. The Cubs are the champion. Look at that mob scene. Holy cow. You talk about a mass of happy humanity. How about them Cubbies? Now our lives are complete. The Cubs are number one.
The impossible is possible. The unbelievable is believable.
This is Harry Carey. So long, everybody.
Fully Threaded Radio is a production of Fastener's Clearinghouse. Music provided by Audionautics.